Let's get divorced. Fine, but I'm not paying alimony. All right. You don't have a job, so you don't have money, right? You okay with that? Happiness matters way more than money. I don't want to live in this house or with this man any longer. I'll definitely divorce you and make you regret this. My name is Yvonne. I'm 58, and my hobby is picking wild herbs when the weather warms up. I was born and raised in a small town. Although I love the peaceful countryside, there was a time in my life when I resented it. I was in my 20s back then. After high school, I got a job at a local department store that only top-performing students could enter. I lived a more glamorous life than most of my peers, I'd say. One day, my boss told me that a VIP customer was coming, and I was assigned to assist him. That was my husband, Bob. His family had even produced a congressman. And although Bob wasn't directly related, his family had various businesses in the local area. Bob himself was set to take over the family business and was quite influential in the community. Still, it was a competitive world with plenty of rival businesses. I'd probably just fade into the background in the city. Bob was, in essence, a local kingpin. However, assisting him around the store was the moment when he took a liking to me. People around me said, "You've hit the jackpot. I'm jealous, and your future is secure," but I wasn't happy at all. There were bad rumors about Bob's family. They were arrogant, fired employees on a whim, and Bob was known to have had multiple affairs with attractive female employees. I had no way of knowing how much of that was true. But where there's smoke, there's fire. I figured there must be some issues, to some extent. Bob was relentless. No, very enthusiastic in his approach to me. He often waited for me outside work in his car. He gave me bouquets, took me to fancy restaurants. He showed his interest in me in various ways. However, as I got to know Bob, I started to think, despite all the rumors, maybe he's a decent guy. We started dating and eventually got married. Right after our wedding, my in-laws gifted us a house. Apparently, it was a wedding gift. The wedding gifts I was familiar with were much more modest, so I was taken aback. Bob accepting it like it was normal also made me realize how different our worlds are. Little did I know, this home would turn out to be nothing short of a devil's den. After we started living under the same roof, Julia, my mill, began visiting our home frequently. She usually doesn't have a specific reason for coming, mostly just complaining about Henry, my Phil, all day. It seems that she has a lot of grievances against him. She never stops if she starts listing her issues, be it her complaints about Henry or even stuff from a fight they had 10 years ago. Not only about him, but also the way our driver talks, the attitude of the company secretary, and even the clothes people in the neighborhood wear. she finds something to grumble about. Listening to her go on and on has been stressful. According to her, a woman in the Johnson family should be helping the family business. It's disgraceful to work outside, so I had to quit my job at the department store. Now there's no way to avoid her since she has also started visiting on weekends, not just weekdays. I guess that was a bad sign. Even though we're newlyweds, Bob started spending less time at home. Julia adores him, and she had strict criteria for who he could marry. I don't meet her high educational or social standards, but my face and discretion were what she approved of. The wife of a Johnson should always walk 3 steps behind her husband, apparently. She also liked my more traditional appearance. For the first time, my single eyelid, which had always been a complex, proved useful. My discretion was actually because I was too scared to show my true self around influential people. Now I can't even say, "Julia, you've complained about this before." 6 months into our marriage, Bob is almost never home, and I'm beginning to wonder if I married him or his mother. Then I discovered his infidelity. One night, as he returned home in a company car, I happened to see him kissing another woman in the back seat through the window. The driver didn't seem surprised. As soon as Bob finished talking with the woman, he swiftly started the car. He seemed awfully accustomed to this cheating behavior. "Hey, what was that?" Of course, I confronted him as he casually walked into the house. Cheating when we haven't even been married a year. Unacceptable. Especially when he had pursued me so aggressively before we got married. However, his reaction was nothing like what I expected. "Don't make a fuss over 1 or 2 women. Now go make dinner." I was speechless as he nonchalantly loosened his tie and walked towards the living room. Not even trying to hide it, just brazen about it. "Wait. Explain. Who was that woman? Would you stop nagging? She's a colleague from work. She's new, so I'm showing her the ropes." "You're in a managerial position, aren't you? You shouldn't be showing the ropes to a newbie." "What ropes are you showing her exactly?" For God's sake, I'm tired. Just shut up." With that, Bob violently shook off my grasping hand. He shoved me so hard that I fell on my behind. Cool your jets. I'm in a bad mood. I'm taking a shower." Leaving me with a cold gaze, he actually went to take a shower. The sound of the shower felt empty in the room, and I deeply regretted marrying such a man. The next day, my clearly irritated Julia came home and immediately said, "Yvonne, sit down here, right now." What? I was forcibly seated by the secretary, who entered the room with her. "What is going on here?" "So you yelled at Bob, who was tired from work. Is that what a wife does? How did you?" But Bob was kissing another woman right outside our house. Of course, I would ask, Bob asked me to set you straight. For heaven's sake, in the Johnson family, women should turn a blind eye if their husbands have a fling or two. So you're saying I should just ignore it? In the past, men of power had multiple women. That's what power brings. This is unacceptable. This family is messed up. I'm done. I'm divorcing Bob. Saying it out loud finally brought tears. I loved Bob, after all. I never imagined ending things like this on our wedding day. However, you can't be serious. What nonsense are you talking about? Her harsh tone made me shrink back. After a deep sigh, she made a call. Hello? Yes, I'm sorry. Can you come home now? All right. She ended the call and glared at me. We're taking you to our place. I resisted, but was forcibly dragged into the car and taken to the in-laws' place. Or more accurately, to the in-laws' barn. Furthermore, Henry showed up not long after we arrived. Seems like he was the one who just called Julia. So Yvonne, you said you want a divorce. Henry smirks at me. Yes. Sorry, can't allow that. Can't let a scandal like that tarnish the Johnson family name. I don't care. I just want to. Before I could finish, Henry grabbed my hair. Listen, what Bob and I say is final. You have no say. Cool off until you get that. With that, he roughly let go of my hair, and I staggered back for a moment. Let's go, Henry said, and Julia added, work hard, before they both left the barn. I realized I was locked in when I heard the key turn. I pounded the door and yelled, "Let me out," but was told can't do that by someone who sounded like a secretary. 12 hours later, locked in the sweltering barn, I was finally freed, nearly suffering from dehydration. Julia handed me a bottle of water and said, "Cool off." I gulped down the water and felt sick, physically and mentally drained. My mind was too foggy to think about anything. When Julia led me into the house, there was Bob and another woman beside him. Regret it now, Yvonne. If you apologize, I'll forgive you. After all, I do love you. Seeing Bob's grinning face sent a chill down my spine. No use. There's no talking to this guy. And this here is Nancy. She's living with us from now on. Looking at her, a memory flashed across my foggy mind. This was the woman I saw Bob kissing. Why would I have to live with the woman you cheated on me with? Come on, don't tell me you're unhappy. Of course I am. This whole thing is messed up. Not just you, Julia and Henry, all of you. The atmosphere in the room went icy. But I didn't think I was wrong. How dare you mock Bob and even Henry? Julia was about to lose it when Bob intervened. You want a divorce, huh? Do you know what that would mean for you and your family? I met Bob's cold gaze head on. I'll take my chances. Let's divorce. Fine, but I ain't paying alimony. You don't work, So you don't have money. Still okay with it? My husband smirks, as if thinking that flashing some money will make me come back to him. He's probably always thought that. Go ahead, let's get a divorce. Hearing this, Bob sighs and tells his mistress, grab that paper from the back right drawer over there. Eagerly, she opens the drawer and hands him the paper. See, my dad always told me I could use this as leverage if things got tough. I've already filled out my part. Use it as you like. It's a signed divorce form, just like he said. Great, I can now cut ties with this hellish household. You'll regret this, says Bob. I won't, I retort, dragging my frail body towards the door. Hold on, don't go out looking like that. Even if you're soon to be a stranger, it'd be shameful for a woman of the Johnson family to be seen like this at night. Use our car. I'll even provide a driver. At Henry's words, I can't help but grimace. Is he planning to lock me in the car and take me somewhere? Just then, Nancy, the secretary, offers, I can go. She's been kind to me, accompanying me on shopping trips since we got married. Fine, you go, orders Henry. Trusting Nancy, I get in the car and submit my divorce form. 2 weeks later, out of the blue, my ex-husband Bob calls, and the first thing he shouts is, "Are you kidding me? What's going on? All of a sudden, what the hell are you doing? You're ruining my business. How unfortunate for you. I'm glad it's working." Bob swears he'll destroy my family. Little does he know, Nancy had given me a pen with a hidden camera during the divorce submission. It recorded evidence of Julia scolding me over Bob's affair, and a male secretary forcefully driving me to a barn and locking me in. There was also footage of Bob saying he wants to move in with his mistress. Turns out Nancy's sister was almost forced into an affair with Henry and got fired for refusing. They have different last names due to their parents' divorce, so nobody suspected they were sisters. Nancy had been waiting for an opportunity for revenge. To not miss any important evidence, I had always carried a pen-sized mini camera in my shirt pocket. What they did to you, Yvonne, was too cruel. I admire you for always being polite. This should keep your family safe. Feel free to use it. And so she did, entrusting me with the data. Having snagged a juicy story, I reached out to a friend who works at a publishing house. I wanted to expose the truth about that family. Honestly, this was my plan if I ever got divorced, and I'm thankful I have the evidence, especially after what they put me through. I sold the data to magazines, and not only did it spread in print, but also on social media. Considering they've spawned politicians, the scandal was sure to attract attention. You even exposed Dad and Mom's affairs. What's your game? I just wanted to air out all your family's dirty laundry. If any power remains in your family, they could ruin mine, too. so I acted to protect my own. I'd heard Julia's complaints every day, including that she had a lover. Apparently, she started the affair as a revenge move against Henry. She's 68, but her lover is in his 20s. She's quite smitten, showering him with gifts. Julia said she'd have left Henry if not for family obligations, but let's face it, to the young guy, she's just a wallet. By the way, it seems she has a long history of affairs, not just with this young guy. She's enjoying herself just as much as Henry, so it's a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other situation. Now Ed's talking about divorcing Mom. This is all your fault. Isn't divorce taboo in the Johnson family? Your dad flips his opinion easily. Quite the small man. Shut it. You've no right to say anything. The reason, your cheating parents are to blame. Also, you cheated, and that led to our divorce. What'll happen to this family and the company I'm supposed to inherit? I'll lose everything. Bob's voice quivered. Serves him right. He should quit sniveling. Up. If you care so much about this family and business, then why not roll up your sleeves and rebuild it yourself? Don't you believe in second chances? You look pretty bad if you can't do anything without a head start. Shut up. You could never understand the pressure I've been under since childhood as the sole heir. The future that was promised to me is now shut off. You think you're the only one burdened with expectations. Of course, I am. Well, you're the only decent son. What do you mean? I'm an only child. Actually, you have a half-brother. What? Don't lie. After divorcing you, I hired a private investigator. It didn't take long to find information about your family. I have a brother. Are you kidding me? I've never heard of such a thing. My ex-husband raged as I patiently explained the existence of his brother. You remember Amy, who used to help around the house? Your dad, Henry, has a child with her. Bob was at a loss for words. Amy, that guy. I sensed over the phone that he was leaning into the conversation as I mentioned a familiar name. Well, he wasn't officially acknowledged, but Julia was against it at the time since I, the legal wife, didn't have kids yet. Even after you were born, Henry apparently told people he wanted that other child to inherit the family business instead of you. So it didn't work out, and they had no choice but to have you as their heir. Your family is like something out of a soap opera, honestly. When I said that, my ex-husband muttered under his breath, "It can't be true." However, I could tell from his tone that he wasn't dismissing what I said as nonsense anymore. Now here's the kicker. What? My sudden flippancy seemed to annoy him, judging by his tone. So, who's the real Johnson heir? What do you mean? You're a child born out of Julia's affair. What? When Julia found out about Amy's pregnancy, she had an affair with the driver at the time, and she had you. That can't be true. It is. Henry doesn't know. But some people are aware of Julia's relationship with your biological father. It's a lie. I'm the sole heir to this family. If that's not true, then what has all my effort been for? He yelled, like a child throwing a tantrum. Look, the only heir is Amy's child, not you. You don't even have a drop of Henry's blood. If you doubt it, go get a DNA test yourself. Well, I'm just curious to see what you, who's supposed to be a stranger by blood, will do with that sinking ship of a family. Good luck with that. Bye-bye. I couldn't hide a smile on my face as I cheerfully said goodbye to my ex-husband and hung up. He must have been pretty shocked. He remained silent throughout. After that, the scandal surrounding my ex-husband's family became the talk of the town, thanks to my little leak. Magazines started uncovering that he isn't really related by blood, Henry's tax evasion, and Julia's foul mouth towards their driver. Sooner than I expected, the family's empire crumbled. All businesses shut down. The local community started referring to them as a family of losers. Now they've moved out of this town, maybe somewhere like Nebraska, and are living a modest life. Bob has had a tough time finding a new job because his face and name got plastered all over the magazines. He tried to use his former subordinates to find work, but without any influence left, nobody listened to him. And that too got published, leaving him unemployed. Henry and Julia are now divorced and still fighting over alimony. They can't find jobs either. What an ugly family till the end. As for me, I begged my way back into the department store I used to work at before marriage. No more marriages for me, I thought, and focused on my career. Things went well, and I even got promoted. Later on, in my 40s, I decided to attend my middle school reunion for the first time. There, I hit it off with a classmate who was also attending for the first time. He's a bit socially awkward and not much of a talker, but his unvarnished self was what made him trustworthy to me. Our second marriage is going splendidly, although my first marriage brought me lots of troubles. It also gave me the wisdom to appreciate my current husband. In that sense, I have something to be thankful for in my life, even to Bob. That's how I feel now.